Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. Today we're talking about the state of Florida and Governor Ron Desantis hinting at a redistricting effort underway in the state. So this is the latest news from an article from The Hill that came out on August 7th. And it says that Florida Governor Ron Desantis knows what it's like to have a redistricting fight on his hands. Desantis redrew the congressional lines after the 2020 census when his state gained one congressional seat, weathering claims that the map disempowered minority voters and defeating opponents in a court case contesting the map. Now as a redistricting battle plays out in Texas and is capturing the nation's attention, Florida could once again redraw its congressional lines to try and bolster efforts by President Donald Trump and the GOP to keep its House majority in Washington. "We were the laboratory here in Florida," said Democratic strategist Fernand Amandi, who's based in Miami. DeSantis was able to do it and not only got away with it, but showed the bottom line success of the approach. Assessing the situation, Amandi wasn't optimistic for his party. "I think we can expect the worst," he said. DeSantis last week inched closer to a repeat of his earlier fight, expressing support for a recent Florida Supreme Court decision that upheld his map after the 2020 census. The Florida governor also made the case for further redistricting efforts in his state. "I think if you look at the Florida Supreme Court analysis, there may be more defects that need to be remedied apart from what we've already done," DeSantis told reporters at a press conference last week. "I also think the way the population has shifted around Florida just since the census was done in 2020, I think the state was appropriated or apportioned. So I don't think it would be inappropriate to do a redistricting here in the mid-decade," he concluded. As the political debate heats up around redistricting, Republicans say DeSantis is simply trying to showcase strength. "You don't have to win, you don't have to land a punch, you just need to show a willingness to fight," said Republican strategist Doug Hay, said of DeSantis' latest assertions. Gregory Koger, a professor of political science at the University of Miami, said it would be harder for DeSantis to once again execute a redistricting effort because of the state's Fair District Amendment. But the provisions, which are aimed at preventing partisan and racial gerrymandering, would not be enough to stop the governor if he does choose to move forward, Koger added. "I think he still tries, although he has a law degree from Harvard. He has not been inclined to refrain from actions that were legally dubious in a wide variety of ways." Governor DeSantis' political strategy seems to have to be to keep up with or keep ahead of what's going on in other Republican states. If Texas goes forward, I think that increases his interest in matching Texas's actions on behalf of the Republican Party. But Democrats say that off-cycle redistricting does not come without its risk for DeSantis, which they say the 2028 hopeful should weigh. "When you redistrict too aggressively, it makes the odds of losing smaller, but it makes the odds of a wave and a loss substantially higher. And if so, DeSantis becoming the guy responsible for Florida Republicans getting washed away in 2026, he doesn't look very smart," said David Litt, a former speechwriter for President Obama and the author of It's Only Drowning, a new book about searching for common ground during a politically divisive moment for the nation. "As somebody with an eye on 2028, people are going to look at that and say, wait a second, are you really the person we want to entrust our political future to because your biggest decision backfires spectacularly for the party?" So that's what the article says here. Now, this is very interesting because I've seen some recent reports saying that Governor DeSantis wants to get 5 Democratic seats to then be on the Republican side if he successfully redistricts the map. So just to give you an idea, the 2024 House map in Florida looked like this, where there was about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There were only 8 Democratic House seats in 2024. 8 House seats. There are 28 total. So it was 20-8 for the Republicans in this. DeSantis wants to get another 5, which would bring the Democrats down to 3 if that was successful. So you're looking at the map in Florida, and you may be wondering, okay, well, how does this happen? Well, the first thing you have to wonder is you have to look at the House map in 2024 and say, where were the really close races? And the closest race, without a doubt, was Jared Moskowitz's district in Florida 23. This is the Palm Beach area near Mar-a-Lago and near President Trump, and Republicans almost certainly want to redraw this district and get a Republican district out of it. And then surrounding it, Florida 22 was Democrat plus 9.9, Florida 25, Debbie Wasserman Schultz was Democrat plus 9. These 3 could certainly be a target. Another top one would be Florida 14 with the Democrat Castor. Now, in Tampa, in this area, which a lot of this district encompasses, at the presidential level, Hillsborough County overall voted for Donald Trump by 3.1%. So the thought process for Republicans here could be they try and redraw the map to get parts of both Anna Paulina Luna's district of St. Pete and Clearwater, and also maybe parts of Florida 15 with Bill Lee and Florida 16 with Buchanan, or not Bill Lee, excuse me, just of Lee. This is Republican Laurel Lee, excuse me, and try and redraw this district to make it more red and try and force the Democrat out that way. That could be a possible situation here. Another could be Florida 9 with Democrat Soto, who won by 12.6%. Its surrounding counties, Florida 8 is safe Republican, Florida 18 is safe Republican, Florida 11 safe Republican, and then you have Florida 10 with Frost, Florida 7 with Corey Mills, and Florida 4 with Bean. So there's some options for the Republicans. The top 5 that I think they want to target are Florida 22, Florida 23, Florida 25, Florida 14, and Florida 9. Now this gets into the very interesting conversation about 2026, because right now, on 270 to win, their House map currently has Republicans favored in 208 House seats, Democrats 206, with 21 up for grabs. Now, how does the map change if these numbers were to change with it? Well, we can go to Florida. Right now, and we'll go through these seats, we'll say this district with 23 flips to the Republicans. Let's say Florida 22 flips, or Florida 25 at Wasserman flips first. Then we could say Florida 22, and Hillsborough, or Florida 14, and Florida 9. These 5 flips for the Republicans in Florida, if they could redraw the map this way, if they were able to do it, that gets the Republicans up to 213. Democrats are at 201. The Republicans would then need to net 5 more House seats on the way the rest of the map is currently constructed to get them to 218. Without going through the state of Texas, which Republicans are hoping to at least get 5 flips in this state as well. Let's say they get Texas 28, which is Democratic held, Texas 34, which is Democratic held, and let's pick one random district in the Houston area. We'll pick one in the Dallas area. That would get them up to 4, and one in the Austin area as well. That would bring them up to 218. That would be 5. So just based off the current map right now, if the Republicans and Democrats kept them state maps the same in every single state, but Florida and Texas, where the Republicans want to get 5 seats each in Texas and Florida at least, that would get Republicans, based on the current map rankings, up to 218, Democrats at 197, 20 House seats are still up for grabs. That means the Republicans could lose every single House seat that's left. They would hold a 218 to 217 majority in the U.S. House. So it's going to be very interesting, because 2026, right now the early polling shows, and again, we're very far out still, shows that Democrats should be more inclined to have a good election night than Republicans should be. And I think based on the current composition of the U.S. House right now, Republicans, and especially President Trump, know that based on the current House map, Republicans are probably going to lose the House of Representatives. The question will be, do they lose it by a little, or do they lose it by a lot? But by trying to redistrict in Texas and Florida, and trying to kind of push the envelope in other Republican states and try and get more House seats out of it, that could potentially stop the Democrats from flipping the House due to the maps being redistricted and gerrymandered into the Republicans' favor. Now, we know this isn't going to just stop at the Republicans in Florida and Texas, especially if they expand to other states as well. Democrats are certainly going on the offensive as well and trying to redistrict in California, where the Democrats are hoping to pick up a few Republican House seats like California 22, California 41, and California 40 by redistricting at least, and trying to counteract some of the Republican wins in Texas and Florida. We also know in the state of New York, Democratic Governor Kathy Hochul has also expressed interest in redistricting if Texas and Florida do, possibly trying to draw out Republicans like Mike Lawler in New York 17, maybe Republicans in New York 1 like Nicholas Lalita. Maybe they can try and go after that district, and maybe try and make Stefanik's district more competitive as well. Those are the top 2 targets at this current point in time. Illinois is also brought up, because Illinois, looking at this map, I mean, it super much looks like it's very Democratic gerrymandered at this time. Maybe they could try and redraw this map as well and try and force out one of these Republicans in the 16th or 15th district, but most of these are pretty solid Republican, and these are pretty solid Democrat. This is already pretty gerrymandered towards the Democrats, so I don't know if the Democrats can get much more seats out of that. Otherwise, you're looking at states, for instance, North Carolina. They've already been through the redistricting ringer. I don't think we're going to see anything out of them in any of those races here. Pennsylvania is probably not going to change much. Nebraska, there was some talk about trying to redistrict the 2nd Congressional District of Don Bacon and making it more Republican to try and stop this race from being a Democratic flip in 2026. If that were to happen, that could maybe be big. Missouri, there was talk about trying to flip one of Missouri 1 or Missouri 5 towards the Republicans in a redistricting effort. So it's a very fascinating conversation, but Florida being able to flip 5 seats from the Democrats to the Republican side would go a very long way for 2026. And even if the Democrats are able to successfully redistrict in California and New York to stop the Republicans, if they realistically pick up 5 seats in California, then another 2 seats in New York, that would get the Democrats to 7. Republicans would still be flipping about 10 across Texas and Florida. Republicans would still have a net gain or so of about 3 seats. So it's very interesting to see how this all goes, and if it does lead to any redistricting elsewhere, because this could certainly get very, very interesting as we get closer to 2026. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you did. Leave a comment below, tell me your thoughts, and I hope to see you in a future video.